Explain the behind the name Bad Plan, because when I legit was describing to my mom because she was interested in what I was doing tonight, and she's like, "But why that name?" I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of a good question."
That is a fantastic question. Um, it kind of has turned into a double meaning thing for me. Um, the first meaning and kind of where it came from when it came time to name this project was music is just objectively a terrible idea. Like it's really expensive and time consuming to pursue. So it's really just rooted in like it's irresponsible to like chase a passion like music, but we kind of do it anyway. So that's the first and like most serious meaning. Um, but it's also kind of come from like in my own personal journey, I have a tendency to like over rationalize things, especially when it comes to like my calling and things that I feel like have been laid on my life. I have a tendency to want to like put them in a box and try to like do the math and like get out of them when I know that's the direction that I should be heading and that's what I should be doing, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. And so the second sort of meaning is bad plans is really about like pursuing your calling in lieu of sometimes logic and reason.
Yeah, because you brought this up, and again, going to this concert, I only knew the protest. I didn't know any of these other projects. And then you were like, "Yeah, I was on the protest. I used to be part of the protest, and I'm part of this thing." And now you're going into this, like, to a lot of people, be like, "Oh, why did he leave the protest?" Immediately, I think some people, I'm sure you've heard this. He's like, "Oh, something was going on in the band. He left. Something bad happened. There's bad blood between everyone," which didn't seem like you guys seemed like you were just like you seemed like you guys were just old friends hanging out. That's what it felt
Yeah,
like.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Technically, she's gotta love it. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Long Distance Pizza Party podcast, episode 39, not episode 40. I said that last week, trying to hype you up there, Jesse, and I miscounted somewhere. Apparently, I'm bad at numbers. I'm finding out. This podcast has revealed a lot about me that I'm just really bad at numbers. I guess I have the opposite of what, it's not dyslexia. There's another one for numbers that's just for numbers. And I don't know what it is. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about your band Bad Plan. Is it Bad Plan or Bad Plans?
Bad plans.
Bad Plans. Okay, that might
Yes,
have
sir.
helped. Whenever was looking up images and stuff like that, I just typed in Bad Plan, but I could have looked at my own shirt. That probably would have answered stuff. But then I got some German band whenever I looked it up.
No. No,
So
we are not German, at least by nationality.
no, you're not like Signum Regis, who's like Scandinavian or Swedish or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
We're German down the line somewhere. I think I got some German in the bloodline, but
I think we all do at some point, somewhere in there.
yeah.
It all runs together.
Yeah.
But how are you doing, man?
I'm great, man. How are y'all doing?
Oh,
Thanks for having me
Oh
on.
yeah, you're welcome. We're doing good. I'm your host Nathan, who is roasting right now. I'm wearing like fleece pajamas, and it's really warm. It was a bad plan for me to do that. It's very uncomfortable. So I did think about it because it was the storm. I thought it was gonna be colder. But again, we have Jesse with us from Bad Plans, and we also have Strange. He's back.
From a long hiatus.
Yeah.
It's been like, what, 3 months?
Has it been 3 months? I feel like it's
think
been
it's-
less than that.
Was it January or December was my last one?
I think it was December.
So that's been 3 months.
Yeah, you
Almost
they,
4.
Your wife finally let you out of the moving van. Just
No, we've been unpacking. It's just a matter of finding which space is best because I went from like a 2-bed, a 3-bed, 2-bath house to a 1-bed apartment. So finding the space to set up my sound booth took a minute to get that all figured out.
nice. I kind of know the struggle having to, because in my room, a lot of my brother's stuff is still in here from when he left for school. And now he's actually going to be moving out and getting his own house. I somehow have to rearrange all my stuff to get his stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And then move all my stuff back, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
It's always great. But we're not talking about life stuff. We're talking about we're talking about
No, I love
Jesse.
it.
We're having Jesse on. It all came up. I went to a concert and you were there with one of your former bandmates from the protest, Heal the Hurt, and Adamic.
Yeah, Damick. I believe there
Adamic.
was some controversy over the enunciation of their name that night, but it
Oh
is
yes,
Adamic. I found out
Adamic.
later.
I at first I
Yeah.
was like, it's Adamic. I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right because that didn't sound right. It's Adamic. Um,
Yeah, those guys are awesome. I think the key is to just say it super fast so
oh
nobody
yeah.
notices.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was really fun. Funny story about that. So when I got there, I was at the merch table. So I was like, oh, I'm the first one of the first people here. And I'm talking to one of the guitarists to the group. Did not know it until he got on. I was like, oh, that's like kind of cool. I got to talk for like 20 minutes. It was fun talking about like CDs and stuff like that, which is weird for someone my age to be talking about CDs because that's a constant thing that gets brought up. I talk about how old I am when I'm not that old. I'm only
Hmm.
24, so when I bring up stuff like CDs, I feel like I'm not the person to be talking about it. I feel like it's more of strangers shtick, to bring up
Yeah.
CDs.
Well, I grew up on cassettes, so
Oh well, there's that too. But Jesse, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself a little bit before we get on another tangent.
Absolutely. I'm Jesse from Bad Plans. That is my band, and yeah, I'm stoked to be here, man. Also, I just noticed that you are wearing a Bad Plan shirt,
Yes,
which makes sense why you said that earlier.
I spent all
Heck
day.
yeah.
I spent all day looking for it. I was like going through all my laundry, sorting my laundry, doing clothes earlier. I'm like, where's this shirt? I need to wear it tonight. The perfect time to wear it. Couldn't find it. Legit, 20 minutes before recording, I looked over, was trying to look for something else, and I had like these milk crates, these for storage, and it was right on top because at the beginning of the week, I put it right there. I'm like, I'm gonna need this Friday, and then forgot about it. Put something else on top of it. I saw it poking out. I was like, perfect. It would be weird if I wasn't wearing it. I was wearing the shirt I was wearing to that concert earlier too, so it also might have worked. But um, do you want to explain the behind the name Bad Plan? Because when I
Yeah,
legit was describing to my mom because she was interested in what I was doing tonight, and she's like, "But why that name?" I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of a good question."
that is a fantastic question. Um, it kind of has turned into a double meaning thing for me. Um, the first meaning and kind of where it came from when it came time to name this project was music is just objectively a terrible idea. Like it's really expensive and time consuming to pursue. So it's really just rooted in like it's irresponsible to like chase a passion like music, but we kind of do it anyway. Um, so that's the first and like most serious meaning. Um, but it's also kind of come from like in my own personal journey, I have a tendency to like over rationalize things, especially when it comes to like my calling and things that I feel like have been laid on my life. I have a tendency to want to like put them in a box and try to like do the math and like get out of them when I know that's the direction that I should be heading and that's what I should be doing, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. And so the second sort of meaning is Bad Plans is really about like pursuing your calling in lieu of sometimes logic and reason.
Because you brought this up, and again, going to this concert, I only knew the protest. I didn't know any of these other projects. And then you were
Mm.
like, "Yeah, I was on the protest. I used to be part of the protest, and I'm part of this thing." And now you're going into this, like, to a lot of people, be like, "Oh, why did he leave the protest?" Immediately, I think some people, I'm sure you've heard this. He's like, "Oh, something was going on in the band. He left. Something bad happened. There's bad blood between everyone." Which didn't seem like you guys seemed like you were just like you seemed like you guys were just old friends hanging out. That's what it felt
Yeah,
like.
that's
Um,
exactly what it is. Yeah. And that is a great point. And yeah, people have asked a lot, because I think it's a strange thing anytime a member leaves a band that's perfectly fine. Like I left the protest like not at a time where there was any like real turmoil or anything. Um, and I think it's also odd to people to leave a band and be on good terms with them. So it's natural that people are like curious about it. Um, at that time, again, kind of like read the whole meaning behind Bad Plans. The protest was not making a lot of money. I was living in Indiana, where they're from. Um, we would go on tour half the year, and then the other half of the year, I would come home and work a job that I hated to try to make up for basically the income, losing trying to tour and do this thing. Um, and at a certain point, I felt like I wanted to do music more. Like I wanted to do it full time, and not work a day job. And so I had an opening to move to Nashville, and I kind of just took it and made a really hard decision to leave that band. And that was pretty much it. It was pretty much in pursuit of like doing the irresponsible thing of like uprooting my life. But yeah, it was really hard at the time. Like it's not something I've talked about a lot, to like uh, leave a band of guys that I consider like my brothers and close friends. And thankfully we've stayed in contact and like are still like fairly close outside of music. But yeah, it was a strange thing at the time.
Neat. Yeah, just going with, because being from Indiana, which I thought was actually really cool. I was like, oh, the protest is from Indiana, because you think anything else from Indiana, there's not much. It's like corn. And then
Mm-hmm.
around here, people like to bring up Al Capone. Apparently, that was like a thing in the town history. You're like, did you know? And where I live, Al Capone wouldn't do business here. I was like, cool. I've heard this like 100 times, but it's kind of cool now. Like you got bands like the Protest. Be like, oh yeah, now they're from there. We do have a guest
Mm-hmm.
question, which is what I was amping into. Being the Long Distance Party podcast, seeing we all stretch out. Like I'm from Indiana, and Crad, well, was from Nevada.
He means strange, not crad.
Or yeah, strange. Sorry, I got the C's mixed up. This is not the first time that I've done that.
There's not even a C in my name.
I don't know why I'm doing it. Uh,
Yes, I
but
was in Nevada. Now I'm in Utah.
and you
Hey,
speaking
there's
of
Crad.
Okay.
speaking of Crad, I say his name, then he shows up.
Yay.
But we do have a guest question for you, says it, 'cause I guarantee you that's the first thing he's going to ask when he pops on.
There he is.
Do you have like a
Man.
favorite?
You mean like this guy who just popped on?
Yeah, like legit. I
Mhm.
said your name. You missed a funny joke. You have to watch back there, Crad.
Mhm.
But do you have like a favorite pizza place or like joint, especially if you're traveling or just or like maybe in local?
But tell you what, I'll give you two answers. I'll give you the Nashville answer and the Indiana answer.
Okay.
I'm originally
And are
from
you okay?
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Make sure to come check on Frank at some point. If not, I can find somebody else.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, I was
Oh,
confused
yeah.
where it was coming from. I was
It's
like,
my wife
Oh.
talking. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
"You're
Oh,
good."
you're good, man.
Okay.
So in Fort Wayne, there's a place called Mad Anthony's. It's like a brewery. They've got a sweet location downtown. They have really good deep dish. It's a little different than like the Chicago style deep dish. It's kind of like a unique to Fort Wayne thing. So really good pizza at Mad Anthony's. And then in Nashville, you got to go to Frankie's. It's like a New York style,
Oh,
like
neat.
the big old,
Almost
big
a
old, like-
sandwich. Trying to
yeah, like thin slice.
Neat.
But the sauce is really good there.
So favorite toppings or combo?
Ooh, I'm a supreme kind of guy. I love a good supreme. Like I like the works. If I'm feeling crazy, I'll do like a barbecue chicken pizza. If I'm going like off script, but I do
Oh,
love
neat.
a good supreme.
You can't go wrong with chicken on a pizza, though. I've had a couple places where it's so dry, it doesn't feel like it. Like they just threw it on last minute. They're just like, here we go. We just got a little leftover chicken. It's like the driest thing on the planet. Craig, I don't know if you had a question you wanted to ask as you just hopped on. Well, he's muted.
I mean, have we basically asked him all the new podcast guest questions already?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and we did a little intro. He talked about the band a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'll start off with the obvious one. How does your faith play into what you do each day? Like, what does it inform your decision making with what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, Bad Plans as a whole is not like an inherently Christian project. in the sense that like I don't make music that sounds very Christian, and I don't necessarily speak on topics that are like, I don't know what you want to call it, like uplifting in that manner. I try to talk about like real things that I go through. Like if you look at like the lyrics of previous releases, a lot of the common thread is just about like mental health, feeling burnout. I talk a lot about like social media and like its play with current society. So those aren't like vulgar things, but they're not inherently Christian either. Um, and I just feel like that's the those are the things that I want to sing about. I think there's already a lot of fantastic artists, like worship artists, who their message is a little more like uplifting. Um, and maybe they write songs that are geared a little more towards people who are already saved. I think the protest is really great at writing about real things that are also like super uplifting and like have powerful riffs that make you want to run through a brick wall. So I've kind of used like um, my life experience as like my unique approach to music. But yeah, I don't really seek out to like sound Christian, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up social media, and I was just going through your stuff. Do you find a struggle trying to post on social media because you'll take like clips of songs and it seems like it's like a POV. Do you find that as a struggle now? There are more like you have to reach out through more social media versus let's say 10 years ago, or
Oh, absolutely.
where it didn't feel like you didn't have to be on social media that much to reach out somewhere. I feel like you could just kind of do it.
Yeah, I'm very much an old man in that way. Social media and like trying to promote, for lack of a better term, like myself as an artist has been like so unnatural and like clunky. Um, there are definitely days where I'm like, I wish I could go back to like handing out flyers and knocking on doors because I feel like that would be easier than trying to like take some video of myself. So yeah, it's not my go-to, but at the same time, I've met like so many cool people that I would not otherwise through it. So I think there is like a little bit of a yin and yang with it. Like it's opened up a lot of awesome doors, but it just comes with its pitfalls as well.
Yeah, I think with social media, it's like either you promote all you can. It doesn't help. There's so many social media apps now. I feel like there's like 3 or 4 that pop up every couple days, if even that, and then it just quickly disappear. Like when that TikTok ban happened, like 5 more TikToks sprouted up,
Hmm.
and I was like, there's no one. I don't know anyone that has time to open every app to post the same video.
Mm-hmm.
That makes like that seems so tedious. That's why I'm glad for Facebook Media, the Media Suite, where you can post to Facebook and Instagram at the same time. It's so nice.
Hmm.
I don't have to open like 3 different apps trying to do something. It's so great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, you could probably teach me a thing or two with that because I'm still like doing it old school, I think. Like
Yeah,
I'm not the best at the social media stuff, admittedly.
no. At least you're trying. It feels like some people, at least these older people that are getting on it and doing it, where it feels so painful. Like there's someone that's on social media, they do like POVs of their music, and I don't know if they just spam it everywhere or they pay some ads, so I'm just seeing it all the time. It just seems so like forced. Well, like with yours, I'm like, oh, this kind of fits in. Like I could see like with this and it fit with your music, but I think they just use the same sound clip from one song they wrote and post it like 100 times. Or just
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah. It's a tough needle to thread, you know. I think a lot of people out there are just they're trying and maybe, they haven't found a way to make it work for them. I don't really feel like I have either, so I try not to be too judgmental. So maybe they know something I don't.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think I got to figure out either. Going back to you're talking about your when you're talking about topics that weren't very Christian, was your type of music always in your home, like in your growing up, or was that something that you got into later?
As far as like genre, my dad was a massive influence. He was in a band with my uncle and his cousin. They were super into like 80s like glam metal. They wore like sequins and the whole deal. And so my dad was super into rock and metal, and very early on, like I was aware of it. But I didn't get really into it for myself until I saw Skillet, and they had the fire and like the whole deal. And that was like when it really grabbed a hold of me to like get into anything like what I play, I guess, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think for a lot of people, seeing how Skillet's been here about 20 years, and it's funny you mentioned Skillet and the stuff that you've gone through, where they've had similar things, where they've had band members leave, and you could divide Skillet into eras, I guess, of when certain members left. And I don't know if that somehow influenced you, where you're like when you started doing your own solo projects after leaving the protest, where you're just like, he's like, oh, I kind of have a baseboard kind of from what Skillet did. But I mean, as a kid listening to Skillet, I never paid attention to that. I was like, oh, it sounds a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as like the way that Bad Plans is structured, I always like there were a couple artists that I looked at and realized like, oh, you could do that. Like Ozzy especially was like a big one I looked at in like the rock and metal world. I realized after a while I was like, Ozzy is creatively just him. You know, later on had management and like a team around him, but creatively it's just him. But he's always had like incredible, like legendary musicians behind him. Even though he's the one, you know, predominantly making the records and probably a lot of the visual calls. So that was a big one. And then as far as like newer bands, you know, Starset, I think was structured similar early on. And then like Beartooth, Caleb Shomo is a big influence as far as like I realized like behind the curtain, he's the one making the records, even though he has this like phenomenal band behind him. Um, so yeah, that once I realized that it was possible, I was like, oh, I think I can do this.
So you're bringing up all these bands like Ozzy, Beartooth, and all of these, and how that influenced y'all. How would you describe your music? Because I was trying to describe it. 'Cause again, my mom is interested in some of the music I listen to. I almost took her to the concert, and then as soon as it started, I was like, this might not have been a good idea for my mom. My my mom, I don't know if it would like some of this stuff, especially when we got to Heal the Hurt. I know she wouldn't like
For
that.
sure.
Uh, how would you describe that your music genre to, I guess, the layman?
Sure. I think my go-to is to call it like alternative metal, but it does kind of span a lot of genres. Like I take a lot of hip hop and like trap influence. Um, so as far as like if I had to have like on a marquee what I do, I call it alternative metal, but it is kind of a lot of things.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
electronic rock as well, like new metal, you could argue. Um, I don't really know what to call it sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there needs to be another name for that when it if you don't quite know and you know it's made a couple different things. But I think there's so many other names and you can just fit it with anywhere. It's one of those things.
Yeah, and it almost depends on the song for me too sometimes. So
Oh yeah.
that plays into it.
Oh yeah. So I know you were touring recently. So if you like the next time you go on tour, if you just happen to have like a dream person show up on the tour, who would that be? Like a person or persons?
A dream person to show up. Um, I don't know. It'd be pretty cool to like meet John Cooper out there, going back to like my roots. Um, I look up to like Trent Reznor a lot. Um, non-living Prince would be cool. I think Prince is awesome.
I think when you said non-living Prince, I had to think about. I was like, who's that? Oh, never mind. I forgot Prince died. I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
sorry for that. Spoiler alert for those who
Oh.
haven't
Yeah,
heard.
he's been dead for a while.
I'm really sorry. If I'm the one that broke that news to you just now, I am so sorry. But it has been a while.
Yeah, yeah. Because my mom, she kept like when she said, "Oh, the artist formerly known as Prince." I'm like, it's just Prince. I don't know why they're adding the extra things, is the actual part to his name, but I don't know. Yeah, John Cooper would be really cool. He seems like such a chill guy from like the interviews I've seen him on. What did I see him on recently? He just seemed like he was on some talk show recently. It was just seemed like he's very chill to
Hmm.
talk to.
He
Just
seems
seeing,
like a smart business guy. Like he seems to know a lot about the music business, and I would love to just like pick his brain
oh
about
yeah,
it one day.
oh yeah,
Like,
and he's not afraid to say something. I remember when all this stuff was going on with Cardi B, he was very vocal, and I was like, oh, he's not going to get fired from his the record group he's with. Like if he's saying so, because I found I think they're part of the same record group, or like one's a subsidiary of the other. Which I was like, oh, this is odd. But again, I'm not very into the music industry, so I don't know all the ins and outs of all of that, how that all that works.
mhm.
Uh, so again, going to having these dream stuff, what is like the most enjoyment you get out of being on tour? Because like from what I've read or heard from people, like they always talk about the negative part, where they're like being crammed in the vehicle or the long drives or all the setup and takedown.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is a lot of work for sure. Like, it's definitely not for everybody. I personally don't mind it. I started touring at a really young age, so it's also, I don't want to say like part of my DNA, but I just kind of I know it. Like I'm used to it. Um, as far as like my favorite part, definitely being on stage, like playing is a rush for sure. Like I don't know if any of you guys play, but um, if you have, like there's just nothing really like it. And I love meeting new people. Like I've heard some of the most interesting stories, just like meeting people before or after a show. So I love the whole thing. Like I'll sleep in a van or not sleep in a van, to do it every day.
Yeah, it's being the church kid. My mom was always in ministry, so I was used to having to help set up or take down stuff. And I know people from like that are similar, where they're like they hated all of that. They'd rather not do of it. And I was like, it's the background. Like it's the background stuff. Like someone has to do all the setup. I volunteer at our kids camp, and I was on our rec staff. And I remember having to help do all the takedown, and it'd be like 1 in the morning when we're finishing up, and all you do want to go to bed, and then you have to drive the next day, and especially for me it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive, so you're just like, I just want to go home, but like I do enjoy taking all that stuff down. Like I have photos I found of just me and of some of our friends who I've been with for years, just having fun taking stuff down. Like you'd think that's the most boring thing, unplugging cables and winding stuff up, or having fun doing it.
So, what was some of your first experiences in music? Like, how did you get started?
Kind of like I talked about earlier, definitely like my dad playing drums around the house was a big influence. Um, and then when I started playing for myself, was around middle school. I joined my first band. Um, there were a group of guys who I was already friends with, but they were in a band and they needed a bass player, and I wanted to hang out with them more. So I kind of lied and told them I knew how to play bass. And then my dad went and got a bass for my birthday at a pawn shop, and the rest was kind of history.
Hey, fake it till you make it. I guess that's how that.
It was I'm literally I haven't made it to the make it part, but I am the fake it part for sure. I've
Nice.
pretty much been faking it the whole way, man. But yeah, and we were 12 and like 13, so nobody knew how to play their instrument. So I auditioned for that band, but like they weren't auditioning anybody else. We were 12.
That's funny. That's like when I was
awesome.
like,
So
it's like when I was 12 or 13 when they did a talent contest at school. And I was like, I know how to play guitar. Did not know how to play guitar that well. Got up on stage, did something. I don't know what I did. My mom said it was good, but I don't know how much it was when your parents say you did good, trying to be supportive and helping you out, or I did really good and I just didn't know it. And I haven't touched guitar since then. So
yeah. And you know what? For music, that's fine. If you're trying to be a surgeon, please don't do that. That music's like one of the only jobs that's okay in, I think.
yeah. I joke with my friends. I'm like, what if you just woke up one day from anesthesiology and just saw me just over you with like a scalpel? And they're just like, I would not be your friend anymore because you would scare me with a scalpel. I was like, well, good thing I dropped out of college. I'm not going to go be a doctor. So when you're performing, do you ever get like I guess like stage fright or like stress before, or does that quickly go away?
You know, it's funny. I used to never get it. But here recently, I feel like with Bad Plans, I have a little again, but it's mostly because it feels a lot more vulnerable. Like in previous bands, like I mentioned, like I played bass a lot, or I was like a backing sort of member of the band. I've only been a frontman one other time before this, and yeah, being like the frontman and the main like lyricist has made me feel a lot more like vulnerable, I guess, and like yeah, the stage fright kind of came back.
Nice. Is that also could be you went from being in a group where you had other people around you to help boost you a little bit, or and then you went solo, so now you're kind of having to spin a couple different plates. Could that also be part of it?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more responsibility with Bad Plans, like creatively being me. And I feel like, you know, it's solo in the sense that like I'm doing a lot of the recording, but like the guys you see on the road with me do play like a massive role. Like Kyle has played drums on recordings, and they do a lot behind the scenes that you don't normally see. So I do feel I still have that safety net of like I have a group of people around me who like I can fall back on. But yeah, it does feel like yeah, I feel creatively exposed every time I hit the stage now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could tour doing something like that. Like all of you guys seem like you're having so much fun, but I don't know if I could just go do that every day or every couple days, having to pack up, go to a different town. Does that get like tedious for you? Like you're especially if you have like same like group of songs you're doing.
I mean, I don't really get sick of the songs. I feel like a lot of times, if anything, I start to hear them different and like they
Mm.
take on a new life when you start playing them live versus like, you know, some of the songs I wrote in like 2018, 2019 before I started releasing for this project. And so you are getting to hear them live for basically the first time since they've been recorded this year. And so they kind of get to take on like a whole new like spin almost. So that part's been really cool. But yeah, it is like touring is just long days. We essentially between like load in sound check and driving between every city work like 12 to 14-hour days on the road. So it's just a lot of time involved. But especially on this last run, like already being familiar with the protest and Heal the Hurt being so cool, like it kind of just felt like a massive like brotherhood out there. Like everybody got along so well. So it didn't really feel like work.
Nice. Do you like doing like the smaller venues, or I don't know if you how big your venue's been, but like of course the concert I was at, it was very small.
Rock venue. Um, those are the types of shows I grew up going to. That's most of my touring career has been in venues like that. Um, I have had the opportunity to play arenas a couple times, and it is awesome. But you do feel like a certain amount of disconnection because the venue is so big and there's so much more like physical space between you and the people, that it almost feels like you're playing inside of like a movie screen or something. Like you could almost like cut the barrier with a knife, if that makes sense, in those settings, versus like at the venue you saw us in, I could reach out and like grab your hand, like you're right there.
Oh yeah.
And in some ways that's kind of scarier. As a front man, that can be a little intimidating because it's like you can see the sweat on my brow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. That was like one of my first concerts I haven't done in a while. And I didn't think about bringing earplugs either. That was never a thing I thought of until I saw some old guy fumbling with his. And I was like, oh, probably should have been a good idea to bring those. Because
Oh
afterwards,
yeah, gotta have earplugs.
my ears were ringing. And I was like, had fun. But I think I just damaged my hearing. It wasn't great to start out with. I think I just damaged it more. So I was like, oh, no for next time. So.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy that set up the venue, he's like, hey, you going to the next one? It's October. I was like, sure.
So I got a question for you, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I missed first few minutes of the podcast. So he may have already asked this question. So if he did, overlook me. How did you come up with the name Bad Plans?
Oh, we did already talk about that earlier.
I missed it.
Oh, you're all right. Do you guys want me to go over it again, though? I'm more than happy to.
I'm fine with it. Yeah, if you want to.
Sure.
For crad's sake.
For the rest of the viewing audience that may catch it about halfway through, please tell us again.
No, you're all right, man. So, originally, and what the project was kind of named after, was the idea that music is just really irresponsible. Like it's a lot of money and it's a lot of time investment. So on paper, it's a terrible idea. So the project was kind of just named on that principle that like chasing this passion is not very smart on paper, and you do just have to be passionate about to do it. And the second kind of answer that kind of, I don't want to say it revealed itself later, but it did kind of like it revealed itself in my life kind of after naming the project, was just that I like personally, I have a tendency to ignore or like over rationalize like the calling on my life. For me is music, but I think for other people it's other things. I'll try to do the math to get out of it. Like God will put something on my life and I'll be like, yeah, but this, and this is in the way, money, whatever. And so Bad Plans kind of like revealed itself in my life as well. Like sometimes we need to do things in our life that are difficult, or we feel like a tug or pull and we need to stop doing the math and do them because that's what we were called upon to do. And that's all we need to know sometimes. It basically Bad Plans is about having faith in a lot of ways.
The stepping away from the fear of failure, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the second name that kind of revealed itself really in like the songwriting, to be honest, and like a lot of the dread and things that I talk about in the music kind of tie back to that as well. They're all kind of rooted in that principle. And, you know, like even I feel like social media is a hurdle against a lot of people's passions. Like my song, Bring Out Your Dead, the concept of that song is I think there's a lot of people who, especially young people, but all ages, who have a passion or an idea and it gets killed before they ever feel like they have the ability to start it because maybe like a hate comment or on social media or somebody told them they couldn't. So the song Bring Out Your Dead is actually rooted in kind of that as well. Like how many people have had their, you know, their fire snuffed out before they ever really got a chance.
Some of the guys that tour with you, like how did you guys all get together?
How did we get together? No, Kyle. So Kyle on the drums. I have known Kyle for a long time. I knew him before I was in the protest. We went to church together back in Indiana. A lot of people know him from a band he ended up in after we had met called Viridia. He toured in Viridia for a long time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Before they disbanded. Kyle's also kind of he's partially responsible for me getting down to Nashville. He told me, like, he's like, this is where it's happening. You got to get down here. Like, if you want to do music full time, like, you need to get down to where the industry's happening. So that's where Kyle comes from. Ken on guitar with me this tour. Ken has actually never toured before. He's a really fantastic mix engineer, though, and we had worked on some records down here in Nashville, and have always been kind of close. And I had heard stuff he played on guitar, and I knew we were in the same type of music, and I asked him to do this run with us. He also works with Kyle pretty frequently, so I knew that they got along. Personalities are a huge thing on the road. So I kind of took a chance on him because I had heard stuff he played on, but I had never actually sat in a room with him and like watched him play guitar until our first rehearsal. And then we also have a production manager, front of house guy, like a sound guy with us on the road, Lynn. And Lynn also went to that church with Kyle and I.
Neat. So it wasn't too out of the norm for you going from Indiana to Nashville.
No, I had some connections here. Like, I had some really good friends. Like I said, Lynn and Kyle had moved down ahead of me, and kind of convinced me a little bit to move down here.
Neat. So is that like they were trying to convince you to and then you decided to, or was just that something that led into that?
I think, especially like being on tour and stuff, every musician from the Midwest has it in their head that like maybe they would want to move to Nashville someday, or you at least get asked about it. So definitely during my time in the protests, like there was always talk about like, oh, maybe we should move to Nashville. We have all these, all these people we're working with in the industry are down here. They ended up making a record down here shortly after I left the band, and like I think there's just a lot of buzz around here, so it does feel like there's a gravitational pull towards it. Ultimately, there was like a lot of things going on in my life that led to me, aside from just leaving the protest, there were just kind of a lot of doors that opened up for me to move down here.
Neat. I did one guess. We don't get to ask this very much when it comes to our guests, because the group we're part of, it's all like Christian geeks and stuff like that. And when you tour, is there something that you like are very passionate about nerd wise, that kind of like sustains you a little bit when we're touring, or do you have much time to do something like that, or are you just so focused on touring?
Yeah, big nerd at heart.
Neat.
You can't see that. Yeah. There's plenty of nerdy little hobbies that keep me happy on the road. I used to game a lot more. This last run, I had almost no time to, because the drives were pretty long between cities, and I was doing a lot of the driving. But I played just about everything there was to play on the Switch there for a while on the road. It's mostly like shows and stuff now. That I like really do like a deep dive on. I'm trying to think of the last thing that I would have watched though. I mean, Severance is big, but that's not really like, that's more like a pop culture thing. It's nerdy in some ways, but.
And it's not really a show you can binge. There's only 2 seasons of Severance.
Yeah, it's definitely not in that way. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Is there anything that for the others that you guys are watching recently that you guys like to binge? I don't know, strange. I'm sure you probably haven't any time you've been moving.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot anymore. And honestly, I don't watch shows necessarily. It's more YouTube than anything else.
That's fair.
Yeah.
As far as a nerdy show, or just in general?
Just in general. You can do general nerdy.
I guess if there's one thing I've been watching, it's Bluey, but whatever.
Yeah.
My wife and I have been going back through The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice.
We watch it every night. Normally when we eat supper together. I love how Nathan's reaction is like, "I'm sorry." Jesse's like, "That's the best." So,
I don't have patience for the Big Bang Theory.
well, doesn't have patience for you either, Nathan. No,
Okay.
no, I'm just kidding. So, how long you said you've been playing music for? How many years now, Jesse?
It'll be, hold on, 16 years this year. Yeah, I started in my first band when I was 12. I had taken some piano lessons and stuff prior, but that's when it really like stuck with me, was when I joined that first band.
And you said you've been playing in those other bands. You've been playing bass. What else do you play?
I play bass, keys, guitar, sing, scream, if you want to call it that. Yell. I don't know if yelling's an instrument, but I do it.
Some would argue that it is.
Yeah. What I say? Yeah, bass, guitar, keys, and sing. That's mainly it. I played trumpet in high school as well, but I don't think anybody would be calling me for a trumpet gig anytime soon.
And what's your favorite instruments to use? Do you have a preferred brand, that kind of thing?
On bass, I've been playing Music Man basses for a long time, like over 10 years. I've been on. My go-to is still a Music Man Stingray, and then I have a Cutlass that I take out. I also play in a country group on the road aside from Bad Plans, so I do get to play bass and scratch that itch still. So
Country group. That's an interesting dichotomy between the two.
that it is. But you know what? It's a lot of fun.
How about keys?
Brand of keys.
Yeah.
I have an Arturia Keylab 88 that I do most of the producing on. That did not make it on the road with me this time, but I had a smaller keyboard that I was using on the road.
Cool. Sorry, go ahead, Nathan. You have to get
No, you're good. I was gonna make a stupid joke, then I forgot it. So, can't remember. It'll come back later. We like to tell church stories. So I don't know if you had any funny church stories or like touring stories, because I'm sure there's been some characters that have been on when you've been touring.
Yeah, there's
You could tell any
There's
on my
quite a
friend.
few.
You could tell any of my friend, but I'm sure he was very all over the place. That was sending the venue.
Man, we've met all kinds of people in the protest day. Did you have them on here already?
We
I
have
don't want
not.
to tell a
We did.
story.
No, we did not. We have not.
Okay.
But
You'll have to have the boys on, but there's a story. I don't want to steal their thunder because they tell this a lot, but it is just so like it's probably the most memorable. But we had stayed at a house with some good friends of ours who are also now the country group that I play for. They live here in Nashville, and they would let us stay at their place when we were coming through Nashville on the road. And I have a history of like weird sleep patterns. So I have like I slept walk a lot, especially growing up, like night terrors, the whole thing. So I'm a real pain in the butt on the road. And it makes things interesting. But I had known for a while, and unbeknownst to the rest of the protest, that one of the things that causes the night terrors is if I have a lot of like sugar before bed. Not that surprising, but
it's all that red dye.
something, man. But something about chocolate, especially for me. Like if I have chocolate before bed, which I'm like I'm still like a kid in that way. I know it messes me up, but I do it anyway. But third meaning to bad plans, maybe just reveal itself. So this nice family had made a big old like chocolate cake for us.
Oh, jeez.
And I ate like big old slice and then went and laid down, went to bed. And I had a night terror, of course. Woke up screaming. I thought somebody was like, I don't know what was happening. I thought somebody was trying to like grab me. It felt like a hand was like on my chest. I don't know if I thought like demons were coming for me or what, but I was screaming, and we were sleeping in two like double beds next to each other. I was sleeping in the bed with TJ. He woke up screaming. I fell off the bed from his screaming. Chair fell over on me. Jared jumped on the bed, was barking like a dog. Everybody was going nuts. They thought the room was like getting robbed or something. Like, I don't know what we thought.
Jeez.
That's funny.
We woke up the whole house. Josh was sleeping in the living room down the hall, and then the family was sleeping in different bedrooms down this hallway. And the family's two daughters had gotten woken up, and we heard them just say, "Dad," from the room, and he was like, "Go back to bed. They'll be fine."
That's
funny. That's hilarious.
And that was it. Yeah, this super nice, hospitable family had gotten like woken up in a terror because I had to have chocolate cake before bed.
Nice. Terrorize their kids. They think about it every night. They're just like,
every time they'd go to have chocolate cake, like, no.
Yeah, I couldn't say no. But that family now, they're a group called Walker County, and I play bass for them on the road now.
No,
Nice.
that's funny.
It kind of came full circle.
So every once in a while, does that story just come up randomly? Hey, remember that one time?
Oh, it absolutely does. Yeah, absolutely. That hangs above my head every day.
Nice. It's like the time we were on a school trip, and he's been on the podcast. Talon. This is a Talon story. We both fell asleep. For some reason, we were so tired, we both fell asleep. Oh, did I just freeze?
It looked like maybe for a split second. I think you're
good right now.
Not frozen now.
Whatever. But we both fell asleep on the school trip. And next I remember, my brother got into our hotel room. My brother, and was just bouncing on the beds. On our nice suit coats that we'd put out, that had taken off, and we didn't want messed up. So I go to punch him off. You know, when you're with siblings, you play rough. And I told him to get off, and I guess Talon must have woken up, because I think I know, I'm punching him full in the gut, and I knock him off the bed. And, like, Talon's not, like, a small guy either. He's, like, kind of stocky. So the fact that I knocked him off the bed, I hit him that hard, and he was having he had a medical issue, like, stomach problems. So he's just on the ground, like, groaning in pain. And he's like, "Why'd you do that for?" I was like, and my brother is still jumping on the beds at this time. And he's like, I was trying to get him off the bed, and then he just bolts out. My brother claims he doesn't remember this happening. But
I'd probably try to block it off.
And he's not younger either. He's like a year or two younger than me. And we were both at least 17. So it wasn't like he was a young kid. He was just being stupid. Gotta love siblings. Man. I think that storm is getting worse.
What draws you to the style of music that you play? Because it seems like it's a lot darker. Admittedly, I didn't do my homework and listen to anything ahead of time because I've been busy. But it sounds very interesting. Kind of like some stuff I've been listening to lately anyway. What draws you to that style, and what kind of emotions or feelings do you hope that people who are listening feel when they listen to it?
I feel like the music that I make is really just a culmination of like a lot of my influences. So that definitely is what draws me to this style. Like I've always been into bands that are like a little more like dark and brooding, and like I get into stuff that has like cool sound design. I like really like cinematic and like big feeling artists. So those are all the sorts of things I've been drawn to, whether that means it's like rock or pop, or I think even hip hop can be that way. Movie soundtracks. Um, so yeah, it's all across the board. I don't know, as far as like I don't write every song, admittedly, with like the feeling of like, oh, I want somebody to feel this way, or I'm trying to like achieve a goal when I sit down to write songs. A lot of times I try to write things from like the most just like raw, like this is how I'm feeling in the moment type of thing. And sometimes I write lyrics that are like, I don't know what you want to call them. They're more like tongue in cheek or like hyperbole. They're not necessarily meant to be taken literally. They're written from like an exaggerated perspective. So yeah, I don't know if I sit down and I necessarily think about like, oh, this is the exact way I want people to feel. I want them to feel like whatever they feel. I've had this happen a couple times where people interpret a song I've written totally different than what the song is actually about. But I think that's okay. Like I've probably done the same thing to somebody else's song. Like, and years later, I figure out it's actually about something totally different. I don't know. I know that's kind of like an open-ended answer to your question, but that's the honest answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. If you could pick one song, whether it was one of yours or someone else's, that really just kind of is not necessarily a favorite song, but just something that's like describes your life or is like a life anthem. Do you have something like that?
Man, that is a tough one.
Yeah.
That is a really tough one. There's a lot of like funny answers I could give you, but uh, I mean, I feel like to keep it bad plan centric, like the first song I wrote for this project, Home, did just kind of like reveal a lot of what this project was going to be about. I had that song written before I named the project. And it has become like it's like taken on a different meaning like three times over in my life. Like it was almost like prophetic in a weird way, where like I wrote it before things happened in my life, and now I look at it totally different. And that was one that came to mind when I was talking about I played it live for the first time 2 years ago, but this year was the first time that we like really toured, and so we really like hadn't heard what that song sounded like to be played by musicians all in the same room together, because it was built in the studio until this year, and then it kind of took on a whole new face and a whole new meaning. So that's one I'll say. I don't know if it's the best like soundtrack for my life, but that one has become like a huge thread for like this whole project, just in the meaning of it.
Do you have a song you've written that is maybe the most fun to play, or you just like you finish that one and you're like, man, that one's a banger. That's like the best song that I've written so far. Do you have a song like that?
I do. It's not out yet.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah, some of my favorite stuff for this project are sitting on my hard drive right now. So stay
There's a
tuned for
tease.
that.
Neat.
Yeah, there is a T. Sorry about that. But yeah, I do feel like anything else that I have like tried to just get better at songwriting with practice, and so I've written a lot more, and naturally I think there's some songs that aren't out that are gonna be at least my favorites. I don't know. I'm always surprised by what things like people gravitate towards when a song comes out, but some of my favorite stuff I've written is not out yet.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. It's like you kind of play a guessing game whether what's going to do well with like anyone that creates anything. You kind of it's like a guessing game. It's like, oh, this might do well, and then it doesn't, or it's like, oh, I'm not sure this might do that well. I'll put it out anyway, and then it does amazing, or it is like great, and you're just like, but why didn't that one do well? The one I really thought was going to do well, why didn't that one? It's weird, but it's how stuff works, especially now on the internet, how algorithms work. I feel like it's just the whole guessing game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that, and I think songs are just like they're a moment in time. You can only release that song on that day, and maybe that thing that you wrote 6 months ago just does not strike people the same way as it would have culturally at the time that like you wrote it, or maybe people just hear things differently. Um, yeah, I do think songs can be a flash in the pan that way, unfortunately, because things move so quickly now. But yeah, for instance, like somebody had messaged me on Instagram about a song that I released a while ago. You know, still one of my favorite Bad Plan songs, but did not get streamed very well. Like it streams okay, but I love it. I didn't play it live on this tour. Like, it just never did particularly well, and that's how it goes sometimes. That's part of being an artist, I think.
Oh yeah, it is fun. Where you can, again, it's like that roulette. You're like, will this do well? Let's see. It's like throwing a dart at the board. Which like, then you're surprised. I think it's actually like the fun gratification. You're surprised by what's gonna do well in the end. Because if you treat something like, oh, this is gonna be the best thing ever, and then it's not, there's like this huge drop of disappointment. Versus then you're just like, oh, let's see if this does well, and then it does well. There's a little more gratification with that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the pitfalls of being an artist too. Is like I personally don't try to get hung up too much on like numbers on any given platform. Obviously, I want stuff to do well, and like would love to be selling out shows all over the country. Because those are, that's a sign that your music's resonating with people and it's affecting people. But at the same time, I'm just happy that my music reaches who it's supposed to reach. Like I said, that one person messaged me about a song that it wasn't a single, it didn't do particularly well, but they loved it and it affected them in a positive way to, be compelled enough to message me. And honestly, that's enough of a win for me. Like, I don't really care if it goes like double platinum. Like, I think it reaches who it's supposed to reach to a certain degree.
My camera keeps freezing. The storm's getting worse. So, good old Indiana. I don't know. It was raining when you were here, and I was concerned at the concert the power's going to go out. How hard it was hitting.
It rained pretty good. I remember the drive home too. We had to turn straight back to Nashville that night, and just poured buckets on us the way back home.
Especially where that venue was at, it was not very well lit. So also trying to drive home in the rain, I'm sure was fun.
Yeah, it was scary for a second.
I don't know what it is about that certain chunk of town where they're like, we don't need lights. That's just my town for you. They don't believe in lights apparently. It's some weird thing about the town.
We don't need no stinking lights.
No, not especially when you're near the highway. You don't need lights. Or you need half-working lights. Was there anything else we wanted to ask Jesse about? I know, Strange, you want to talk about the Minecraft movie. We could talk about that next episode. My enjoyment of the Minecraft movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can hit that next time.
Yeah, my fun experience with the Minecraft movie. Nothing bad happened, Crad. I don't know why that great. Nothing...
Well, the way you're setting it up makes me think so. You had like this life-changing experience.
No,
for the worse. It sounds like
at the Minecraft movie. No, nothing bad happened. But that's next. That's another episode after Good Friday because we're this falls in our recording schedule because Easter is coming up. But if you're at Easter egg hunt and you're listening to us, thanks for listening. Jesse, where can they find you?
We are on every platform as Bad Plans Music. So at Bad Plans Music, badplansmusic.com. Except for TikTok, we are just at Bad Plans for some reason.
Yeah, be careful looking it up. Like when I was trying to look it up for stuff, you will find a German group. It's not even called Bad Plans. It's like a bad plan. Blah, like it's something German that's been translated to American. It's weird. Thanks Google. I just have Bad Plans banned, and that's what came up. Was not you. You're like 5 down. I was like,
yeah, we gotta work on
scroll
that
down. Oh, there we
SEO.
go. Yeah, there we go. If you want to boost our SEO, follow us at Pizza Party Pod on social media. Thank you to those who've been following us on Facebook recently. I've been trying to post more social media. I'm trying to post to both. So someone's been really following on Facebook because I kept getting pings earlier. It's like 20 new people looked at your page. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So thank
Going
you.
viral. Look out.
Oh no, we're a plague. That's funny. Check out our last episode where we had Crad's friend on. That was fun. Did you see the thumbnail I posted for it, Crad?
I did.
The photo I just found.
He was wondering where you got that picture from.
I found it on Facebook.
That's funny.
I was like, what do I do for the thumbnail? Let's see if he's on Facebook. I was like, let's try not to find a photo with his whole family either. It's probably a good idea. You could find me on social media too at ft_FastFoodGurus. I went to Azip's today. I had their cheeseburger pizza. It was very disappointing. I had mustard on it, so that's probably why. I don't like mustard. So, parts of it were okay, just not the mustard part. I could have done without the mustard, but it was in the sauce, so I couldn't say, hey, can I have not the sauce? So, and I was hungry because I didn't eat anything at the theater when I went and saw the Minecraft movie. I didn't get any theater popcorn. I don't like movie theater popcorn.
My wife would not be happy with you. Aaron, you said that.
It's too much.
Oh,
Price and amount. I don't need a whole bucket. They don't have small buckets.
She just looked at me. She's like, what are you talking about? He doesn't like movie theater popcorn.
I know, I'm a heathen.
I think she just about had a heart attack, so it's a good thing you're not here.
Yeah, so check that out. Strange Where They Can Find You.
So I've been on hiatus with everything going on, but here soon I'm hoping to get back on TikTok, focusing more on voiceover stuff. And eventually I'll get back to my lyric channel on YouTube, Strange Lyrics. And TikTok is Will Becker, just Will Becker. So you'll find me on there.
No chicken wrangling?
No chicken wrangling.
Dang it. And Crowd, where can they find you?
Find me at TikTok at CW Man and here on this podcast.
Yeah, he's gonna watch every CW show.
That's the rumor anyway.
Oh man.
You thought it was not even in existence last time.
What? Oh, CW, I thought it was dead.
Yeah.
Maybe it's dead to me. Maybe that's what it is.
Dead to me, dude.
Oh man.
But yeah. Jesse, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I dropped my mouse. That's a great ending to it where I can't find my mouse.
You can't log off. Oh no.
No.